Now, when you search a large database suite like ProQuest, you're searching an immense volume of material. This means that you want to formulate your searches carefully to try to target the material you're looking for as precisely as possible. It's a good idea to spend a little time looking at the search section of the Help module and acquainting yourself with the different kinds of search syntax and search techniques supported by the interface. Given our research interest, we might enter something like the following formulation in the ProQuest Advanced Search interface. Now here, besides the Boolean elements of the AND OR operators and the parentheses, I'm using a couple of techniques. One is called truncation searching, and this is a technique that allows me to search for the roots of words instead of whole words. So in this formulation, I'm targeting words like bias, biased, subjective, subjectivity, objective, objectivity, etc. I'm also using a technique here called proximity searching. In this expression, I'm telling the system to look for terms A or B within X words of term C in any order. So with this formulation, I'm targeting the phrases empirical science, empirical scientist, scientific empiricism, scientific observer, scientific observation, observational science, etc. In this initial list, we're seeing a lot of articles on the social sciences and/or sociology. At this point, it would be up to you to decide whether this kind of material falls inside or outside the scope of your essay. Imagining that you decided you wanted to focus on the idea of bias or subjectivity in the natural sciences, you might want to amend your search query by adding not SOCI asterisk to eliminate documents containing the phrase social science or the word sociology. Now this is a tricky stage that a lot of these kinds of research enterprises go through. We're searching using broad terms and broad categories: subjectivity, objectivity, science. We don't have any proper names or highly specific terminology to anchor our search, so we're getting an unmanageably large volume of retrievals. When this happens, one thing you can do is to be more selective about where you look for your search terms. You might consider eliminating the full text of articles from your search so that you're only searching titles, subject labels, and abstracts. This can be a good way to distill a long list down to something that is more manageable in volume and has a higher concentration of relevancy. When you search full text, you get every article that makes even the most casual reference to your research interest, and often most of these articles are not relevant or useful. If your search criteria turn up in the title, subject headings, or abstract for an article, it's far more likely that that article speaks directly to your research interest. Once you get a list down to this stage, there is a whole panel of parameters and filters that you can manipulate to identify and isolate the material that's most relevant to the question or issue that you're attacking in your essay. You can include and exclude different types of sources. You can also look at a list of all the subject labels represented in your list and search those selectively. And if you encounter some unfamiliar terminology that keeps coming up in these subject lists, you may want to look at a dictionary or other reference sources to see whether that terminology can help you formulate more precisely targeted searches. Once you get to this stage, you can start paging through the results, looking at titles and looking more selectively at abstracts in order to identify what among this body of material is most directly relevant to the issue you want to engage in your essay. The records and abstracts in a list like this are also very good territory for terminology mining, so it's a good idea to keep your eye out for more precise or narrowly focused vocabulary that you can use to formulate a more precisely targeted search. In some cases, it will be worthwhile to consult reference sources at this stage. One particularly useful tool is Credo References Concept Map. This module of the Credo Reference Suite searches a library of hundreds of electronic encyclopedia, dictionaries, and other reference sources for entries related to your search term. It then generates a map or a visualization of all of these entries and the hyperlinks between them. And this can be a great way to get a bird's eye view of complexes of interrelated terms and concepts, as well as to find new terminology for formulating more precise search queries.